The assessment. Admiral Nix stood before the massive observation window of the Drachnid Empire's flagship, Eternal Shadow, her scaled fingers tracing the holographic projections of Earth's continents. The third planet of this unremarkable solar system shouldn't have warranted such attention from one of the Empire's most decorated commanders. Yet here she was, leading their most ambitious reconnaissance mission in centuries. Such a peculiar world, she mused, her infrared sensors detecting the heat signatures of countless human settlements across the planet's surface. Tell me, strategic analyst Ravik, why has no one claimed this territory yet? Ravik, a tall, slender being with crystalline skin that reflected the stars beyond, approached with a data crystal in hand. The data is puzzling, Admiral. Despite its strategic location and abundant resources, Earth has been passed over by every major galactic power. Our historical records show several attempted invasions, but they're frustratingly vague about the outcomes. Nix's secondary eyes narrowed, focusing on the detailed scans of Earth's primitive defensive systems, crude nuclear weapons, basic orbital satellites, and antiquated projectile-based military equipment. Nothing that should concern an empire that had mastered dark energy manipulation and quantum weaponry. What of their technological level? She asked, bringing up displays of human cities and infrastructure. By all appearances, they're a Type 0.7 civilization, Ravik replied. They'd barely reached their own moon. Their energy production relies primarily on fossil fuels, and their most advanced computers are laughably simple. However, he hesitated. Speak freely, analyst. There are inconsistencies. Our long-range quantum sensors detect energy fluctuations that don't match their apparent technological level, and some of our probe signals simply disappear when they reach certain areas of the planet. Admiral Nix's facial scales shifted in a pattern indicating deep thought. She conquered 17 worlds for the Drachnid Empire, each campaign meticulously planned and flawlessly executed. But something about Earth made her primary heart flutter with unease. Show me the disappearance points, she commanded. The holographic display shifted, highlighting dozens of locations across Earth's surface where their surveillance efforts had been mysteriously thwarted. These locations correspond to no known human military installations, Ravik explained. According to their public records, most are wilderness areas or abandoned industrial zones. Nix activated her neural interface, connecting directly with the ship's quantum computer. Data streams flowed through her consciousness as she analyzed patterns that organic minds might miss. There's a deliberate randomness to these locations, she concluded. Too perfect to be natural, too chaotic to be obvious. Admiral, a new voice interrupted. Lieutenant Zara, their xenopsychology specialist, stepped onto the observation deck. I've completed my analysis of human entertainment media. And? Nix prompted, curious about this unusual source of intelligence. Their stories consistently depict humanity triumphing against overwhelming odds. More importantly, they show a remarkable capacity for technological adaptation and military innovation. It's as if they're psychologically prepared for extraterrestrial conflict. Nix absorbed this information, her tactical mind weighing possibilities. The humans' apparent technological backwardness contradicted their psychological readiness, and these mysterious energy signatures. Either they were the most paranoid primitive species ever encountered, or prepare a limited probe launch, she ordered. 3 units, highest stealth configuration. Target these coordinates. She marked 3 points on the holographic globe, areas where their scans had been particularly inconsistent. Admiral, Ravik protested, the Empire expects our full assessment within 2 planetary rotations. Shouldn't we proceed with the standard evaluation protocol? Nix's scales rippled with amusement. Tell me, analyst, what happens to a cornered prey that knows it's being hunted? It either flees or reveals its true capabilities, Ravik answered, understanding dawning in his crystalline features. Exactly. And these humans, with their primitive weapons and suspicious energy readings, haven't fled despite surely detecting our presence. I want to know why. As the probes were prepared for launch, Nyx returned her gaze to the blue planet below. In her centuries of service to the Empire, she learned to trust her instincts. Right now, those instincts were screaming that Earth was far more than it appeared. "Let's see what you're hiding," she whispered to the distant world. "Show me your secrets." Little did Admiral Nyx know, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Director Marcus Wong was already reviewing the Drachnid ship's precise location and capabilities. Earth had been preparing for this moment for over a century, and humanity's greatest deception was about to be tested. Hidden defenses. Director Marcus Wong stood in the heart of Project Guardian's command center, his weathered face illuminated by dozens of holographic displays, tracking the Drachnid probe's descent toward Earth. Around him, the world's most advanced AI systems processed data streams from quantum sensors hidden throughout the solar system. "Status report," he commanded, his voice steady despite the stakes. Dr. Samira Hassan, head of counterintelligence operations, responded without looking up from her neural interface. "The alien probes are following exactly the trajectory we predicted. Operation Mirage is functioning perfectly. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." For over a century, humanity had maintained an elaborate deception. While the public world advanced at a measured pace, a hidden civilization flourished beneath the surface. The discovery of a crashed alien scout ship in 1947 had changed everything, providing humanity with both the knowledge of extraterrestrial threats and the technological foundation to defend against them. "Dr. Hassan," Wong called, "show me Nexus Points Alpha through Charlie." The central hologram shifted, displaying 3 locations where the Drachnid probes would soon attempt surveillance. On the surface, they appeared mundane. An abandoned mining complex in Nevada, a seemingly empty stretch of the Australian outback, and a decommissioned oil platform off the coast of Brazil. In reality, each housed portions of Earth's most advanced defense systems. "Quantum camouflage is holding steady," reported Commander Jun Park from his station. The young officer had helped design the system that kept humanity's true technological level hidden from prying eyes. "The energy signatures are being masked as random background radiation." Wong nodded, remembering the decades of preparation that had led to this moment. After the first alien ship, others had followed. Some hostile, some merely curious. Each encounter had taught humanity more, allowed them to reverse engineer more advanced technology. But most importantly, each incident had reinforced the importance of appearing harmless. "They're launching," Dr. Hassan announced. The room tensed as 3 points of light descended from the Drachnid vessel. Wong opened a secure channel to the facility's quantum AI. "Begin active countermeasures. Remember, we want them to detect just enough to make them curious, but not enough to trigger an immediate invasion." The first probe approached the Nevada site. Deep underground, arrays of quantum processors adjusted the facility's energy signature, allowing microscopic glimpses of the true technology within before swallowing them in carefully crafted static. The second probe encountered a precisely calibrated temporal distortion field over Australia, recording data that would seem corrupted rather than deliberately altered. The third probe's sensors were subtly manipulated to detect fragments of advanced energy signatures, disguised as equipment malfunctions. "Director," Commander Park's voice carried an edge of concern. "The probes are demonstrating adaptive capabilities beyond our initial estimates. They're attempting to compensate for the interference." Wong smiled slightly. "Good. That means they're paying attention." He turned to Dr. Hassan. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Let's give them something to think about." Throughout the command center, operators executed a carefully choreographed series of revelations and concealments. A quantum shield flickered for precisely 1.2 seconds near Nevada. A gravity wave rippled through the Australian site, its signature masked as a natural phenomenon. The Brazilian platform briefly emitted an energy signature matching known alien weapons, before dissolving into background noise. "Probes are beginning their ascent," Dr. Hassan reported. Data analysis suggests they recorded approximately 18% of our planted evidence. Perfect, Wong replied. Just enough to make Admiral Nix question everything she thinks she knows about us. He turned to face his team. Phase 1 is complete. Prepare for Phase 2. If I'm right about their commander, she's about to do something very interesting. As the probes returned to their ship, Wong studied the Drachnid vessel's position. Everything hinged on the next few hours. If they showed too much, the aliens might flee and return with an overwhelming force. Too little, and they might dismiss the anomalies as equipment malfunctions. Dr. Hassan, he called, contact our lunar facilities. Tell them to prepare for possible orbital combat scenarios. Commander Park, begin warming up the quantum defense grid. Whatever Admiral Nix decides to do next, we'll be ready. The pieces were in place. Now it was time to see how their visitors would react to humanity's carefully crafted puzzle. First strike. Admiral Nix paced the bridge of the eternal shadow, her scales shifting colors with agitation as she reviewed the probe data for the 12th time. Something was wrong. Deeply, fundamentally wrong, with everything they'd gathered about Earth. Analyst Ravik, she called, explain these energy signatures again. The crystalline being manipulated the holographic display, highlighting the anomalous readings. The patterns make no sense. Admiral, we detect primitive fission reactors on the surface, yet these spikes suggest technology far beyond that. But they appear and disappear almost randomly, defying any known energy generation method. Unless, Nix mused, they're not random at all. Her secondary eyes narrowed as a new possibility formed in her mind. Lieutenant Zara, recall what you said about human entertainment media. They're stories of resistance against superior forces. The xenopsychologist stepped forward. Yes, Admiral. Their cultural products consistently show humans hiding their true capabilities, waiting for the right moment to reveal their strength. Nix's scales flushed dark with decision. No more games. Prepare the attack fleet. If they're hiding something, we'll force them to show it. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Wong received the alert he'd been both expecting and dreading. Multiple ships deploying from the Drachnid vessel. Centennial reported. Energy signatures consistent with combat configurations. So Admiral Nix chose the direct approach, Wong murmured. Initiate Operation Thunderbolt. Authorization code. Prometheus Unbound. Across Earth, hidden facilities hummed to life. In the Nevada desert, massive doors opened in seemingly solid mountain faces, revealing squadrons of quantum-drive fighters. Beneath the Australian outback, temporal displacement cannons emerged from their camouflaged bunkers. Off the Brazilian coast, the oil platform transformed, its holographic disguise falling away to reveal a towering energy projection array. Sir, Commander Park reported, Drachnid ships are launching what appear to be standard orbital bombardment patterns. Their weapons are primitive by their standards. Wong nodded. They're testing us, starting with basic attacks to gauge our response. He opened a channel to all Guardian facilities. Remember the protocol. Reveal our defenses gradually. Make it look like we're scrambling to activate emergency systems rather than executing a prepared plan. The first Drachnid shots never reached Earth's atmosphere. They disappeared into seemingly empty space, swallowed by quantum shields that had protected the planet for decades. On the Eternal Shadows Bridge, Nix watched in growing concern as her initial barrage simply vanished. Impossible, Ravik whispered, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns of distress. Their shields, they're not just advanced, they're beyond anything in our database. Before Nix could respond, new signals appeared on their sensors. From Earth's surface, objects were rising. Hundreds of them, their energy signatures shifting and changing as they ascended through the atmosphere. Evasive action. Nix commanded, but she knew it was too late. Her attack had sprung the trap, and now she would discover exactly what humanity had been hiding. The primitive planet's response was overwhelming. Quantum phase torpedoes bypassed Drachnid shields as if they didn't exist. Temporal displacement beams caused sections of ships to age thousands of years in seconds, crumbling into space dust. Gravity weapons created localized singularities that twisted Drachnid vessels into impossible shapes. "Admiral," Zara's voice shook, "we're detecting energy weapons of at least 60 different types, many of which violate what we thought were the laws of physics." Nyx watched as her attack fleet was systematically dismantled by weapons that shouldn't exist. The humans weren't just advanced. They had taken alien technology from multiple sources, refined it, combined it in ways no other species had imagined. "Full retreat," she ordered, her scales now pale with shock. "Get us out of this system." But as the eternal shadow turned to flee, a new threat appeared. The moon, Earth's supposedly uninhabited moon, was launching its own vessels. Sleek, black ships that seemed to bend light around them, their very movements suggesting mastery of space-time itself. In the Guardian Command Center, Wang watched the Drachnid fleet's retreat with grim satisfaction. "Hold position," he ordered the lunar fleet. "Let them go. They'll carry our message back to their empire." "Sir," Dr. Hassan questioned, "we could destroy them all, prevent them from reporting what they've seen." Wang shook his head. "That's not the message we want to send. Let them return with the truth that humanity is not to be trifled with. The time for hiding is over." As the Drachnid ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, Wang turned to his staff. "Begin Phase 3. It's time for humanity to take its place among the stars. On our terms. Counter-offensive." 3 days after the Drachnid retreat, Director Wang stood before the United World Council, addressing representatives from every nation in a session that would reshape human history. "The time for secrecy has passed," he declared, his voice echoing through the secure chamber deep beneath Geneva. "For over a century, Project Guardian has prepared humanity for this moment. Now we must decide our next move." The chamber's holographic displays showed the Drachnid Empire's known territory, a sprawling collection of systems that had terrorized this sector of the galaxy for millennia. Data streamed across secondary screens, showing the analysis of their retreat and the intelligence gathered during the brief engagement. "They'll be back," Commander Park stated from his position beside Wang. "Our sensors track their quantum wake signature. They're heading directly to the Empire's military hub in the Centauri sector." Council President Amara Okafor leaned forward, her weathered face grave. "How long do we have?" Dr. Hassan activated a tactical projection. "Based on their observed FTL capabilities and likely command structure, we estimate 2 weeks before they can mount a full-scale response. They'll need time to convince their leadership that a supposedly primitive world possesses technology that rivals or exceeds their own. Then we have 2 weeks to prepare our response," Wang said. "But this time, we won't be playing defense." The chamber erupted in murmurs as Wang gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show Earth's true military capabilities. Hidden fleets emerged from lunar bases, massive shipyards uncloaked themselves in the asteroid belt, and defense platforms deactivated their quantum camouflage throughout the solar system. "Operation Starcaster," Wang announced. "A coordinated strike at the heart of the Drachnid Empire, using technologies they can't detect until it's too late." From her seat in the council, Admiral Rebecca Chen, former commander of the Pacific Fleet and now head of Earth's combined space forces, studied the tactical projections. "A preemptive strike. Bold, but risky. We've never operated our ships at such distances from Earth." "Which is precisely why it will work," Dr. Hassan interjected. "Our quantum entanglement drives don't rely on conventional FTL physics. While they're expecting us to follow their established trade routes and hyperspace lanes, we can strike directly through subspace." The council chamber's eye assistant, Athikina, projected casualty estimates and success probabilities. The numbers were surprisingly favorable, testament to decades of preparation and technological advancement. "This isn't just about defeating the Drachnids," Wang continued. "This is humanity's opportunity to reshape the galactic political landscape. Our analysis of their communications suggests multiple species under their control, waiting for an opportunity to break free. President Okafor stood, her decision made. Director Wong, you have the Council's authorization. Initiate Operation Starcaster. The next 48 hours saw the greatest mobilization in human history. Ships that had trained in secret for generations emerged from their hidden bases. Quantum weapons that bent reality itself were brought to full power. The most advanced AI systems ever created coordinated strategies that operated in 11 dimensions. Aboard the flagship Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched as her fleet assembled near Jupiter's orbit. The massive vessel, nearly 3 kilometers long, represented the pinnacle of humanity's combined technological achievement. Its hull incorporated materials engineered at the quantum level, its weapon systems could reconfigure the local laws of physics, and its defensive capabilities included temporal shields that could literally rewind incoming damage. All ships report ready, Commander Park announced from his tactical station. Quantum entanglement drives are spooled and synchronized. Chen nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Signal all vessels. Operation Starcaster begins now. Across the solar system, hundreds of ships activated their quantum drives simultaneously. Reality itself seemed to shudder as they tore holes in spacetime, creating passages that bypassed normal space entirely. The greatest fleet humanity had ever assembled vanished from the solar system, leaving behind only a scattered few defensive forces to protect Earth. In the Guardian Command Center, Wong watched the fleet's departure on quantum-linked displays that maintained real-time communication across any distance. Now we'll show them what humanity is truly capable of, he murmured, not just in defending our home, but in taking the fight to those who would threaten us. As the fleet traversed the quantum corridors toward Drachnid space, Wong knew that the galaxy was about to change forever. Humanity wasn't just emerging onto the galactic stage. They were rewriting the rules of engagement entirely. New Dawn. The Drachnid Empire's capital world, Nexus Prime, had stood unconquered for 10,000 years. Its orbital defense grid was considered impenetrable, its quantum shields powered by the energy of an artificial star. Yet in the space of 6 hours, humanity's fleet had reduced it all to drifting debris. Admiral Chen stood on the Prometheus's observation deck, watching as Drachnid ships continued to surrender. The quantum entanglement strike had been devastatingly effective, appearing simultaneously at every major military installation in the Empire. Before the Drachnids could even register the attack, their command and control systems had been quantum-locked, their weapons rendered inert by temporal stasis fields. Status report, she called, though the quantum-linked displays already showed her everything she needed to know. 97% of Drachnid military assets have been neutralized, Commander Park reported. Their remaining forces are either surrendering or retreating to neutral space. Casualty counts are minimal on both sides, thanks to the precision of our quantum weapons. On the planet below, something unprecedented was happening. As news of the Drachnid military's defeat spread, subjected species were rising up, throwing off centuries of oppression. The Empire's carefully maintained hierarchy was collapsing, not through violence, but through the simple realization that their overlords were no longer invincible. In the Guardian Command Center on Earth, Wong watched the events unfold through quantum-linked feeds. Dr. Hassan stood beside him, monitoring the diplomatic channels that were suddenly flooding with messages from dozens of alien civilizations. "They're calling it the 6-hour war," she reported, a hint of amazement in her voice. "We're receiving requests for diplomatic contact from over 30 independent worlds, including some that were never part of the Drachnid Empire." Wong nodded, his expression thoughtful. "And the Drachnid leadership?" "Admiral Nix has requested a direct meeting," Hassan replied. Her message suggests she finally understands why we maintained our deception for so long. She's offering to serve as an intermediary between Earth and the remaining Drachnid power structure. The quantum displays showed new data. Ships from other civilizations were arriving at the edges of Drachnid space, not to join the conflict, but to witness its resolution. Humanity's demonstration of power had rewritten the galaxy's political landscape in less than a day. Director Sentineel's quantum-processed voice announced, "The United World Council is ready to begin Phase 4. Wong turned to face his team. "Then it's time to show the galaxy what humanity truly stands for. Not just our power, but our wisdom." He opened a channel to Admiral Chen. "Begin broadcasting the Terra Pax Protocol." Across Drachnid space, quantum transmitters activated, carrying humanity's message to every world and ship in range. It wasn't an ultimatum or a declaration of dominance, but rather an invitation, an offer to help build something new from the ashes of the old empire. "We come not as conquerors," Admiral Chen's voice echoed across the quantum channels, "but as liberators and allies." Earth extends an offer of partnership to all species, including the Drachnids themselves. Together, we can build a galactic community based not on dominance and fear, but on mutual respect and shared progress. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ships from former Drachnid colonies began dropping their weapon shields, quantum signatures powering down in the universal gesture of peace. On Nexus Prime, the remaining Drachnid leadership signaled their willingness to negotiate. In Geneva, President Okafor addressed the United World Council one final time before stepping onto the galactic stage. "For generations, we hid our true nature, building our strength in secret. Now we will show the galaxy that humanity's greatest power lies not in our weapons, but in our ability to unite, to innovate, and to forge a better future for all species." The quantum displays showed scenes from across Earth, as the public finally learned the full truth. The hidden technological marvels, the secret space fleet, the century of preparation. But instead of panic or fear, there was celebration. Humanity had not only survived its first major galactic crisis, it had emerged as a force for positive change. Director Wong stood in the Guard Ion Command Center, watching as the future unfolded. "Send word to Admiral Chen," he ordered. "Begin establishing the framework for the Galactic Cooperative. It's time for humanity to help build something greater than ourselves." As Earth's fleet maintained its position around Nexus Prime, ships from dozens of worlds began arriving, not for war, but for dialogue. The age of secrets was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and humanity would lead the way into a new dawn for all species.